Came across this post here from Holy Post Media.
Holy Post Media.
Holy Post Media. Now, me and my friends, we're obviously not fooled by this, but I will say this, that, even though Holy Post Media is obviously very liberal, progressive, and all that stuff, and a lot of conservatives don't really take what they say seriously, what this woman says here is actually something that I think you are very likely to find even in conservative Christian churches. And so wanted to listen to it, and I wanted to respond to it. So here we go.
Matt Walsh. Yeah, it's too late to turn the temperature down.
It's too late to compromise. It's too late.
Not a time to hold hands. It's a time for justice. This is a time for good to fight back against evil. It is time for the righteous to prevail. The most confounding thing to me about Christians saying stuff like this is
She's
this
confounded. She is confounded. And as we all know, as we all been trained, when a woman is confounded, that's the time to act.
Idea of it's too late to turn down the temperature. Like the idea that human political disagreements can be ratcheted up to the level of existential risk to such a degree that violence is justified is so anti-Christian, because it assumes that here and now is all there is. And so if there are resources that are scarce, I have to fight for them. If there are battles that need to be won, I need to destroy the other side. And we've lost completely the beauty of the resurrection of the dead and the life of the world to come. If you believe that Christ is returning, that should motivate you to say, I don't need to say anything like it's too late to turn the temperature down, because it's not up to me. I am not the good fighting back against evil. That is, like it says in Romans 12, leave wrath up to God. As far as it depends on me, I live at peace with everyone. It's not just kindness and turn the other cheek for no reason. It's because I believe that all things will be made right and good in the end, regardless of my ability to procure that here and now. I have the freedom to, even if I am going to be faced with an opponent, even if it was as bad as Matt Walsh describes it, I don't think it is. But imagine he's right, that they're going to kill us in the streets. The Christian response to that would be I believe in the resurrection of the dead and the life of the world to come. So I don't resort to the means that the world uses to get the goals that I have in mind. I resort to different means.
It's MLK's quote about, I will not hate you.
Yeah. Right. We need to shut women like this down. And men, you've got to figure out a way to shut them down completely, politely, nicely, however you want to do it. But you can't listen to women like this. You just can't. And for too long, for way too long, too many men placate women like this. You know what I mean? They want to make them feel comfortable and safe and all of these things, but you just can't do it. You just simply can't do it. And I think, like I said, I think you probably recognize this, that, Holy Post says a lot of weird things that nobody would be fooled by in conservative Christian circles. But this is not one of them. This is something that many people would be fooled by. In fact, I'm sure you've probably heard this amongst conservative Christian circles, and you just can't be fooled by this anymore. You just can't, because these two things are not at odds with each other. You know what I mean? Believing in the resurrection of the dead and the world to come, and all of these things, God eventually wins. Believing in that is not at odds with doing work right now to confront and defeat evil where you find it, doing what's in your purview, in your station in life, whatever it is that you're doing, confronting evil in those stations is absolutely compatible with believing in the resurrection of the dead. And it's not because, God can't do it without us. It's not because, God, needs me in the fight or whatever. It's like that. No, it's your duty, though. It's actually your duty. And there's many, many verses that Holy Post Media has quoted before in service of Black Lives Matter and social justice. It's all those same verses, except they don't apply to that kind of stuff, because that kind of stuff is fake. It's not real. The Black Lives Matter stuff and the kingdom diversity stuff and the all of the DEI stuff, that's they made that up. but they use the verses that actually apply to our situation for that fake thing in the service of leftist politics, right? So they know that this is not correct, right? Because I couldn't say to these guys,
Well, don't worry about Black Lives Matter, the DEI, because, don't you believe in the resurrection of the dead?
like it would be equivalent, right? Obviously. But so that was one of the most dangerous parts about the social justice stuff, because the verses that they would use are legitimate verses. They just don't apply to what they said they were doing. They were lying. And that's the thing. They lie all the time. But so anyway, all that to say, these things are not incompatible. Of course, I can believe in the resurrection of the dead and still try to confront and defeat and destroy evil wherever I find it. That's obvious. That's obviously you can do that. And of course, she noticed she quoted Romans 12, which we've been talking about a lot this week. Romans 12, and as you know, Romans 12 comes before Romans 13. 12 is a smaller number than 13, so when you're going in sequential order, 12 is first and then 13. 13 comes after 12. You see what I'm saying? So Romans 13 comes after Romans 12. Romans 12 comes before Romans 13. And so when you read it, you read Romans 12, and it sets up the whole idea about not taking personal vengeance. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. We've covered this a million times. And then in 13, kind of completes the thought. The civil governing authority is God's revenger, executing vengeance upon the evildoer. Well, who's the evildoer? Is it the person that doesn't say we should hire black people just because they're black, whether they're as qualified or not as the white person, or we should hire a black 6 over a white 8 to be a pastor because we need some kind of kingdom diversity? Is that what it's talking about? No, it's not. That's not what it's talking about. That's not what it's talking about. You know what I mean? So this is all a trick. This is what they do. They lie. They just lie all the time. Women like this, Caitlyn, the other guy, the VeggieTales guy, the bald guy, gives all bald people a bad name. I personally take a lot of offense to that. But they lie. That's what they do. They lie in service of their leftist politics. They will always do it. They will never stop doing it. And you just have to be ready for that. But in this case, so many conservatives, they're not lying in favor of leftist politics all the time, but so many conservatives have been trained to say, look, don't you believe in the life after? Don't you believe in the resurrection of the dead? And they'll give lip service to the life now, but what they do is they make that life mean that this life doesn't matter. You need to be a doormat. That's not true. That's not true. This life, of course, does matter. God cares what we do right now, in the life we have right now on this earth. He cares about it. And we've got a duty to do what God says. How do you know you love Christ? Well, you do what he commands. And there's a whole book of commands. And one of the great parts about the Old Testament is you can see God's people doing these kinds of things all the time. To the people of Israel, they believed in the resurrection. Some of them did. They believed in all of this stuff. They believed in the promised land and all of these things. They believed in the Messiah and all of these things. But at the same time, they were doing what they had to do here and now. And that's a beautiful story. It's an absolutely beautiful story. There's so many examples of the people of God doing things where they had the ability to do them. And we can see how God commends their behavior. Even sometimes, which is especially interesting to me, even sometimes when the things that they do, you can't really find a law for that. You know what I mean? You can't really find a law for that. I always love to talk about Nehemiah. He finds out the Israelites are marrying foreign women. And what does he do? He beats them. He pulls out their beard. And I could easily see Caitlyn saying, well, where's that in the law? Where is that in the law? There's no... And yet God commends him for it. This is an action that he did that was for the good, that was good. God says it was good. There you go. In any case, hope you had a good time watching this video. God bless.